Cantu, Howard,
Did you say Halbert? I'm here.
Howard, yeah,
Yeah.
Hernandez,
Present.
Hudson,
Here.
Dick,
Here.
King Tingle,
Here.
McPartland, Vera,
Here.
Rickman,
Here.
Stepper,
Here.
Vargas,
Here.
Warner, Wright,
Here.
Suba,
Here.
may have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. With that, Vice Chair, would you lead us with a pledge of allegiance, please?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Chair. With that, we'll open for public comments. And this is the opportunity for the public to comment on items not on the agenda. And I see a couple of raised hands. Well, it's a few. Let's start with Cosmo. And you have 2 minutes. And Candace, if you can put the clock, we can have Cosmo and Vivian
Yes,
and
I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. I have Tamara. She doesn't attend me. I just need to bring her over and then I could get going. So sorry. Okay. So public comment, we have, let's go here. Councilmember Bedolla.
Yes, I'm present. Am I starting?
yes, please, go ahead.
Okay.
Comment, yes.
Sorry, did I hear not yet?
You can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Councilmember Mateo Bedolla. I'm currently the City of Tracy's sole representative on the Valley Link Rail Board. I wanted to formally introduce myself to some faces or voices right on the line that I may not have met before. Some of you do know me and I know you very well. I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to being sworn in as an official director rather than as an alternate to Chair Vargas. And I really look forward to the good work that this committee is going to continue doing. Being on the City of Tracy City Council, I was always been very supportive of the land dedication for the Valley Link so we can have the operation and maintenance facility. And I really look forward to the work that I can contribute to this group, especially as the City of Tracy is really the, the connection from the Bay Area to the rest of the Valley. I really want to take another opportunity to say thank you for allowing me to speak today. And if it wouldn't be too much trouble if I could be kept on as a panelist, as I am an alternate and the City of Tracy's sole voting representative currently. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Councilman Bedolla. And I believe
And
that
I'm sorry for the record, it's Bedolla. The 2 L's are like a Y,
sounds like
like
a
the soccer
plan.
player.
All right. Going back, I see legal counsel has his hands up. Go ahead, Michael. I think you're muted.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Michael. You're muted. No. All right. We'll come back to our legal counsel. In the meantime, I want to correct it. I believe the statements are incorrect made by Councilman Bedolla. He must be confused. This board does not have alternates or proxies. We don't recognize unless there are already a notice is done to this board of the appointment and representation. So in my, as we discussed, my position here is terminates on December 31st. So we'll move on. We will not be putting Mr. Vidal as a panelist because that is not our policies and procedures. And with that, we'll go to the next speaker, Adrian.
Adrian, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you for the unmute. I just wanted to briefly update you. There was a scoping session for the supplemental EIR, and the comments were taken informally via chat. I pointed out that regarding the propulsion choice, that before you go too far down the road and committing yourselves to hydrogen, you ought to pay attention to the study that was done in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. That's the state, the home of Mercedes and Porsche. And they did an extensive study of battery EMUs versus hydrogen EMUs. And Stadler, by the way, the same company you're looking at for your hydrogen EMUs, makes an all battery EMU, and it can recharge in 15 minutes. The hydrogen version refuels in 30 minutes. The battery version has sufficient range such that you would only need to electrify your terminals and possibly part of Altamont Pass grade. And you could run all the way to Stockton and back and never have to electrify more than that. Very minimal electrification. It can do in-motion recharging, runs off battery. Everybody that has a Tesla or an electric car nowadays knows how well that works. And it does not have the problems associated with hydrogen, such as fugitive emissions. Hydrogen is thought to be 100 times more potent a greenhouse gas than CO2. And the energy efficiency of creating hydrogen from green energy and then converting it back to energy within the train to move the train wastes about 70%, 75% of the original green kilowatt hours versus just charging a battery. So the total cost of ownership study needs to occur for Valley Link, just like it did in Germany. They determined that the total cost of ownership for hydrogen versus battery was 80% higher, and you should do your due diligence on that. Thank you.
Veronica, you're muted.
Sorry about that. We're gonna move on to the next speaker, raise hand, which I believe was Cosmo, but I believe he is no longer there. So thank you, Adrian, for your comments. Karen Moore, you have the floor.
Hi, Karen, can you hear us?
Good afternoon. Yes, my name's Karen Moore, and I'm with an environmental group out of Tracy. I've been coming to this meeting for quite some time, and I understand that you did do due diligence. I remember when we were told that getting up over the Altamont was where electricity would fail. So I would think that, once you get into Mountain House, you could switch to an electric model, but you'll be using the same train. So maybe there's a hybrid you want to do, but because of cost, but to get over the Altamont, electricity wasn't going to give the power that a train would need. And, blowing a hole through the Altamont is possible, but expensive. I'm really excited about this project. I know that another form of hydrogen fuel that people are using, because I attend California Energy Commission, is called DRE. You can look it up. DRE fuel is a game changer for power and speed. Electricity takes, as we all know, too long to charge a train. It just, although he pointed out that, it can charge en route. But DRE is really working for like trucks and heavy equipment. And so, there's a lot of technology coming down. Every day it changes. So we as a group of citizens are moving towards new technology, and of course, cost is going to be looked at. I've seen your reports. I've seen how you talk about, how much you have to produce to make it affordable.
Karen, thank
So-
you so much for your comments.
Already timer was not rolling, but time's up, so sorry about that.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you, Candace. I don't know if what is the issue. And for the record, let's indicate that at 2:13, our director Paul Akinjo has signed in. Welcome, Paul, to the meeting. And seeing no other comments from attendees, so no other hands raised, I will close the public comment and bring it back to the board. Let's see, Michael Conrad, you have your hand up. Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Reason my computer wasn't getting my audio through. We had a little bit of confusion this morning regarding representation from Tracy, and that's involving Councilmember Bedoya. As you know, Tracy had your reorganization meeting last night, and Chair Vargas completed her term. We need to have cities or any appointing agency, the county or community service district, give us a formal notice that someone is being appointed to the board, right? The membership on this board is sworn and as a public office. And so I received some phone calls this afternoon from, in speaking with the executive director and also with the Tracy City Attorney. But we have received no indication, no formal notice that Councilmember Bedoya has been appointed or would serve. We do not have alternates on this board. The statute that created the agency did not provide for alternates. So it's not as though if a member of the board can't make this meeting that someone else from their city can participate in their place. I have heard that Tracy may have a separate policy that provides for automatic replacement, but I have not seen that and have no notice of it. And it's just not responsible to, have someone participate as a voting member in a meeting when we don't have any formal notice that they've been appointed or we don't have a oath of office for them. So the one question I have, I think it would be more appropriate if Chair Vargas did not vote on measures today. I think as a ceremonial matter, it's certainly fine if she wants to run the meeting because, there is some question. But other than that, and I apologize for any confusion here, this thing came up at 11 o'clock this morning, and there seems to be some inconsistency between the way the city does business, and certainly their right to do whatever they want. But I just say for all of you who, especially as we come into January and their reorganization meetings, please, please, please have your city give us a formal notice if you've been reappointed or if someone else from your city is being appointed. We need time to process that and to make sure we are in a position to give you the oath of office for the meeting. Okay, I'll happy to answer any questions, but that's all I have.
Thank you to our counselor. Dave Hudson, you have your hand raised, please.
Yeah, Michael, I would just say that there is precedence on this, that Phil Alone, I think, was completely off the council, and but he was still the representative until I got my letter in. I don't have a problem. I think you absolutely worded it correctly. It's up to Veronica, though, if she does want to vote. As far as I'm concerned, she is still the member of the council. We do the same thing with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. There is no representative. Mike Szymanski died. I was the appointment, but they hadn't received the letter. I hadn't sworn in, but I was asked to come to the meeting and kind of see how things work. I don't think the issue is who's making a vote. It's how Tracy wants to vote.
Right.
And unless there's been something in a transparent meeting that says you're voting opposite of the way they want to go, it really is. I think it's your call more than the city of Tracy, and I'll just leave it at that. And others can chime.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson, Director Hansel. I appreciate that. And
Can I just make one further clarification, and that is our statute and our bylaws both state that the representatives to the board are appointed by the individual jurisdiction, right? And so it's an action of the jurisdiction. It's not necessarily whether or not they don't need to be a member of the city council or board of supervisors. It's whatever that body does, however that body directs
So
us.
that body appointed me, and by our bylaws, I am the chair and a voting member until December 31st. That is my understanding. Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate your input. And with that, I will say, yes, Mr. Hudson, you have actually correct. In the past, we had Supervisor Scott Haggerty, who actually ended his term in December as a supervisor, and yet he was in our board as an acting chair until February. And he voted and acted on that. So I want to make sure that we're consistent in our policies, and maybe in the next meeting with the new chair gets elected, all these little matters of administrative cleanup needs to happen to make sure that we are consistent moving forward.
A point of clarification, did I just take us off the agenda item, Mike?
A little bit, but I want to make sure that we address it. Thank you so much. Going back to the agenda, consent item, agenda 4 is an action item. We have the minutes for November 9th, and the minutes from December 7th, the treasurer reports from October 2022, the resolution R222-2022 declaring the agency meeting will be continued to help in teleconference, and E, the set of board of directors meeting for 2023. Do I have a motion?
Move consent, Hudson.
Hernandez will second.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Moved by Director Hudson, and second by our Vice Chair. Roll call, please.
Hopefully you can hear me a little better now.
Yes, we can.
Oh, cool. Great. Thank you, guys. Akin Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did we get Benjamin Cantu? No. Robert?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Kick?
Yes.
King Tingle?
Yes.
Did we get McPartland? Neeram?
Yes.
Rickman?
Yes.
Stepper?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Bob Warner? Did we get Bob Warner? No. Wright?
Yes.
Zuber?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Moving on to item 5, fiscal year 2022, basic financial statement and memorandum of internal control. This is an action item. Staff, you have a staff report.
Thank you very much. We have completed our fiscal year end 2022 financial statements. Everything looks good. We are still on a reimbursement basis only, which is why it will show that there's not a lot of cash, but that's to be expected. Today we have with us Vicki Rodriguez from Mays and Associates. She will present this item. She led our audit this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Just make
Yes,
sure.
we can.
Okay, thank you. So yes, I am a partner with Mays and Associates, and this is my first year on this audit. We did complete the audit of the basic financial statements for the Tri-Valley San Joaquin Valley Regional Rail Authority for fiscal year ended June 30, 2022. We have issued an unmodified opinion, which is the cleanest opinion that the authority can receive. So congratulations for that. There were no significant changes in the reporting this year. The net position is a deficit balance of $2,986, meaning that the liabilities exceed the assets by that amount, but that's expected, as Tamara mentioned, that's expected considering the early planning stage of the authority. Net income for the year was $25,102, and the authority made its first capital asset purchase, which was a printer copier. So those were the kind of the financial highlights for the year. As part of the audit, we do review the internal controls and we do tests of those controls, and we have found the design of the controls to be adequate, and we had no findings related to our testing. So we did not detect any material weaknesses, and we have no significant deficiencies to report. And so with that, I invite any questions relating to the audit or the basic financial statements or the memorandum on internal control.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I appreciate it. We'll open now to for public comment, and then we'll bring it back to the board for questions. Do we have any raised hands? And it looks like yes. Cosmo, do you have any comments on item number 5?
Sorry, not on item number 5. This was about just like general comments about the report. So I'll go back to being muted.
Thank you. All right. If any other comments from the public, seeing none, we'll bring it back to our board for this board discussion. We'll close the public hearing. And board members, any questions?
Chair, I'd like to move approval of the basic financial statements and memorandum of internal control.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you, Director.
Naram.
Yep, you got it. So roll call, please, Candice.
Akinjo,
Yes, ma'am.
Hobart,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hudson, Kick,
Yes.
Yes, Hudson.
Hudson, yes. King Tingle,
Yes.
Naram,
Yes.
Rickman,
Yes.
Stepper,
Yes.
Vargas,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zuber.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you, Candice. Moving right along to item number 6, it's the hydrogen production facility project advancement. This is also an action item, and staff, do you have a staff report?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Vargas, members of the board. Will Ritter with Valley staff. Staff is pleased to be presenting this recommendation to the board and are very excited about the opportunity to enter into a strategic collaboration with Linde Engineering in North America to progress the development of the hydrogen production vision that the board has set over a period of time, including the September board action on a feasibility study. And then, as we most recently reported back in November, our intent to proceed with the solicitation to bring on private sector support to be able to advance the concept, including being able to prepare an application for the project to the state's ARCHES initiative. Specific to the recommendation today, we're looking to authorize the executive director to negotiate the development of a project development agreement, which itself will provide us an opportunity to work collaboratively with Linde to further refine the project scope, to develop an implementation strategy, and then to establish the actual partnership framework in which we would look to enter into with Linde as a part of determination to be moving forward in that direction. I would say that this is also very critical as we talk about evaluating vehicle technology and the overall life cycle costs of the project, including the operations, as part of the vision, as you're aware of, on the sustainability for both the environment and the economy, is looking at how we, as part of self-production and production and sale of excess hydrogen, can be able to offset our overall long-term operating costs of the rail system. So this is a significant endeavor to be partnering with Linde. Is, a very strong partner in this regard, bringing on their expertise in hydrogen production, as well as their ability to support us in a number of facets of this effort. We have gone through a solicitation process that we reported on back last month. And clearly thank representatives from LAFTA as well as the City of Tracy and Innovation Tri-Valley for participating in that process. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to introduce a number of the members of the Linde team who are with us on the call today. If you could join the video. Just like to recognize 4 members of the Linde team with us. Vladimir Sarmiento Darkin is the Director of Clean Hydrogen. Sean Quinton is the Proposal Manager of Linde Engineering. Richard Craighead is the Director of Business Development. And we also have with us Joan Geary, who is the Associate Director for External Funding. And I note that Linde is also a collaborator in the Arches Initiative, and is again uniquely positioned to be able to support all of our needs. And when we talk about our near-term interest in being able to submit an application for consideration by the state to be included as a part of the Arches Initiative, and then brings with them an immense strength and as part of their expertise to actually support the design, build, financing, operations, and maintenance of the proposed facility. So just like to thank again the members of the selection committee and thank the members of the Linde team, and staff is available to answer any questions the board may have with regards to the recommendations today.
Thank you, Will. This is a very important part of our project. So I don't know if they have a questions presentation further than that, Lyndon.
No, we just wanted to be able to introduce you to their team, as we're very excited to be working with them here immediately to progress this process, starting with the development of the Arches application. And then, as I noted, we'll be moving forward to prepare the project development agreement that we'll be bringing back to the board at a future date. And through that work is when, again, we will be refining the project scope. We'll be looking at implementation strategies and again, establishing the partnership framework between the authority and Linde to progress hydrogen production forward.
That's awesome. Before going to our board of directors, so Supervisor Herbert, just hold for a moment. Let's go to the public for public comment, and then we'll bring it back to the board for discussion and motion. So let's go to the attendees, and the first one is I have Michael Marks. Michael Marks, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Can you hear me? I don't see a screen here.
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Michael Mark. I'm with the San Joaquin Building Trades. I hold the proud able to represent 10,000 workers, construction workers that live in San Joaquin County. This particular project is a really large project, and I appreciate hydrogen as a thought process of moving forward. Us as a San Joaquin Building Trades Council, we do support a project of this size being built, but one thing we always need to remember is the local labor piece. Being able to use a skilled and trained workforce, having the opportunity for apprentices from a state labor, joint labor management program. We have had a lot of success here locally using community workforce and training agreements. When we're talking about community and workforce, I think the San Joaquin Building Trades. I first time hearing about this project, I was under the understanding that Linde has worked in the past. So I think it's something to move forward. But I do think we got to stress there should be some labor standards within any type of agreement going forward for any kind of public-private partnership. Like I said, there's 10,000 of our construction union workforce here in San Joaquin County that live here where this project will affect, and they should have the opportunity to be built under a community workforce and training agreement. So again, my name is Michael Mark with San Joaquin Building Trades. I appreciate your time, and let's hopefully have opportunities for apprentices thought about within this particular project. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your comments, sir. We'll address that in a moment. And then let's move on to, I see Andres Clever.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. My name's Andreas Kluber. I'm Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda County Building Trades Council, and we represent 28 crafts and construction and 40,000 members living and working in Alameda County. And I'm not going to repeat what my brother from San Joaquin said in terms of the project. I just want to re-stress that the importance of having high road labor standards and local workforce. And so I really would like you all to, as you're looking at putting together a project development agreement with Lindate, I would like us to also explore putting together a community workforce agreement for this project. I think you have the authority to do so, and myself, and I'm sure Michael Mark from San Joaquin would be more than willing to assist and help in that process. So I really hope you would consider that, and I appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for your comments. If you can lower your hand as you exit, I will appreciate it. We'll move on to Councilmember Dollar. Do you have any comments? Councilmember Dollar, you have your hand up. Do you have any comments?
Can you hear us? Can you? I just gave you permission to speak. Hello? You want to move on to the next one?
Yes. Let's move on to Andreas Cleaver.
You just went to him.
Oh,
You're right. My apologies. Andreas, if you can lower your hand, please. Raul Hernandez, you're next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, my name is Raul Hernandez. I'm representative for the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union Local 442 here in San Joaquin County. And not to get into the weeds and repeat myself of what my two other what the two other individuals stated, but my concern is the individuals that you're partnering with. It was mentioned that they did build a prior project here in the Stanislaus area a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the contractors that they chose to do the piping were from out of state, and unfortunately brought their whole workforce to install all the mechanical and piping and machines regarding their project. And I would hate for a project that's this size for the same thing to happen. So I would urge the board members to, in relation to the executive board director, to in the negotiations to reaffirm and get a commitment from Lindsay to make sure that they use the local workforce and provide new opportunities for people here in the valley to work locally and not have to do those commutes, right? And also to create new opportunities for people wanting to be in the construction trades. A project like this under a community workforce training agreement or PLA will create a lot more opportunities to bring more people into the fold and let them enjoy some of the benefits of working in union construction trades. So this is going to be a great opportunity with the size of this project, and I urge the executive director and the board directors to do as far as their negotiations to assure that this project is going to be built locally with the local workforce, and more importantly, a union workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Next caller, Cosmo. Cosmo, do you have any comments for this item, number 6?
Yeah, I just want to continue
You have
saying
2
what
minutes.
I just want to continue saying what the previous gentleman were saying, how if we are going to build these great big projects, especially in the Tri-Valley, where you have such a large workforce of skilled labor. I have family members that were part of the construction trade, and they had to commute, vast hours across the Bay Area. to reach their workforce, to reach their job sites. I think it'll be very beneficial if we hire labor and skilled workers that are close to the area. The whole goal of this project is to reduce carbon emissions, and if we're going to bring people from out of state or from far away locations, I see it as just kind of exacerbating the problem. So I just want to reiterate that hiring locally and paying prevailing wages should be a big focus for the council. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Councilman Bedoya, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
He's lowered his hand.
All right. All right. Seeing no other members of the public wanting to comment.
We have Adrian.
Adrian.
Yeah, we have Adrian.
Adrian, I thought that he spoke already. My apologies. Adrian, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair
Hello,
Vargas, thank you for the opportunity. I was waiting for the unmute. I did speak at the earlier agenda item, but not this one. Please understand, my concern with this whole hydrogen versus battery-powered EMU subject is just with doing what's most cost-effective from a taxpayer and transit advocate point of view. There's no doubt, as the previous public commenter mentioned, that hydrogen is feasible in the sense that it can be made to work. Steam trains can be made to work, coal trains can be made to work, etc. The question is not what works, the question is what is the most cost effective, what has the least total cost of ownership, what is the least environmental impact. And hydrogen does not appear to compare favorably with battery EMUs. It's the same reason why in the automobile market, hydrogen has less than 1% of the market for cars, and will probably remain very, very low for the foreseeable future because it has so many drawbacks. So electric cars and electric trains, again, a prior speaker suggested that they cannot go up the steep grades. That is laughable nonsense. The most powerful trains in the world are electric. Absolutely, hands down. That's why high-speed rail is absolutely must be electric. All the steepest grades in the world are climbed by electric trains. So that's complete nonsense. So please just consider the total cost of ownership, the environmental factors of hydrogen, fugitive hydrogen emissions on the greenhouse gas element, and energy efficiency. Round-trip energy efficiency is superior with battery trains. They're all made by Stadler, the same company. And please also, regarding labor, speaking as a taxpayer, we want to get the most bang for the buck. And so please have competitive bidding on the labor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll give Mr. Bedoya another try. Mr. Bedoya.
Can you hear me now? Thank you very much. So I just want to be clear that this was not on me. I did not have the ability to unmute myself. I really apologize for using up your guys' meeting with trying to, be able to listen to me. I'll be very brief with my comments. Once again, this is Councilmember Mateo Bedoya. I really thank you guys for hearing me out today. I just wanted to address item number 6, the hydrogen production facility project advancement, and add my voice to the crowd, to the unison of support of local jobs on this project, as was stated by Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Mark, and their colleague in Alameda County. Myself being a former carpenter and now a teacher, I really understand what it means to provide all types of jobs for our local community, because not everybody's going to get the typical university 4-year degree. So I do want to add that I'm very supportive of this project. But I do humbly request that we listen to our partners in labor and carve out something, something for our local workforce. Thank you very much for hearing me out today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your comments. All righty. With that, we'll bring it back to our board, and I saw several hands, so thank you, board members, for being so patient, and we'll start with our attorney first, since he's, we want to make sure the legal counsel gets guide us in the right direction, so.
Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you, Chair. I just, I'm not sure Will totally commented on the CEQA process. I know we had a public comment that was submitted in writing questioning whether or not this, the CEQA compliance for this project. I just want to assure the board and the public, the agency is going to completely comply with CEQA. We are going, any large scale permanent project is going to require a CEQA review, and we will certainly do that. This initial contract is much in the way in terms of a consulting contract. Although we've had a feasibility study done by a consulting firm, Lindy is really experienced in building this type of project. And so the ability to consult with them and gain their insights is going to be very valuable. The agency is in the process of determining whether or not using hydrogen as the motive power for its locomotives is feasible. And in order to complete that task and make an informed decision in terms of how to power the trains for this project, we want to do some additional study and consulting with them and potentially look at pilot projects in order to evaluate that. So that's all that's going on now. That's what this next contract that the executive director is going to be negotiating involves. And then anything longer term, larger, is certainly going to be subject to CEQA review. And I just wanted to comment on that so there's no misunderstanding. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I was wondering why it's all it sounded just the labor and contract, all that stuff is we're not even there yet. But I appreciate that. Director Harbour, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate the comments from the public and Michael for clarifying where we are in the process. But I would like Will and maybe Kevin, at some point when we do start discussing hydrogen and electric and hybrid, and just to make it very clear, why we're going with hydrogen. If electric becomes at all an option, why or why not? And to be very clear with the public on that. I think we have been somewhat in the past, but let's continue to be. Also, with regard to the comments that were made by speakers, I think it would be important for Lindy to at least share with us other similar size projects and their experience and their capability of working to design a project that then is moved on to the construction phase and supported by labor at that time. Have they done that before? I'm guessing yes. And could you share with us your experience doing so and your capabilities of doing so? We want to know that what you do for us will lead down the path of construction in that manner. So, or not. So please share with us your capabilities in that space.
Very good question. Thank you, Director. And I will ask Lindy also on the same breath, if letters of intent with laborers are done in which point in time as well. So who in the Lindy group will take those questions?
So,
all right.
Chair
Yes,
Vargas,
yes, sir.
These will be the things that we're looking to respond back to as a part of the ongoing process with Lindy. The intent was not to put them, today in a position to respond to these, because I would assume that there are other members of their larger, company that would need to be in a position to be able to address those types of questions. But we will very much ensure responsiveness, to those questions, from the board of directors as we look to bring back the subsequent items.
And you're right. I apologize, Will, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not there yet when it comes to the labor, the GC, all that stuff. We're still in the exculpatory and that. So if we can itemize that when it's appropriate, we can bring it back, including the question that our director had, and maybe in the future, the next chair can agendize that when it's appropriate.
I'm happy if you take that offline, Will and Kevin. Just take it offline and have that conversation with them.
Perfect.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Harbour. I appreciate that. we'll move on to, I know that I have Dan Wright and Dave Hudson, but if you allow me for a moment, directors, to let our executive director who has his hands raised, maybe for clarification. Kevin, do you have the floor?
Yeah, much of what has been already stated, totally agree with, and just want to reiterate and confirm that wherever possible, depending on funding types and the size of the project, where we can explore working with unions through PLAs versus prevailing wage, we have to look at all the details surrounding that. And I'm happy to have those discussions, and certainly appreciate people calling in locally and expressing interest to work on our projects. That's a good sign, in my opinion. So definitely something that I take to heart, and we'll be looking into as we negotiate these contracts and the size of the projects.
Absolutely. And that always was the intention of this board, to go through that process. So thank you, Kevin, for clarifying that. And we'll move on to our Director Wright. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Chair Vargas. I'll try not to repeat what Director Hobart said. I mean, it's obviously, I'm very supportive of our local unions. And in Stockton, we do have a community workforce training agreement, and it's worked out fabulously for us. What we found out is our projects get done on time, under budget, and it's a positive for the process. So, and I just would encourage us to work cooperatively with our unions as we move forward on this project, because it is a tremendously large project, and it has great possibilities to employ some of our local workers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Director Hudson.
Yeah, it's a ditto on the Halbert. Don't ever let him speak before me again. He takes everything I want to say, and I have to ramble now for about 20 minutes to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I think the word opportunity is in there. Too many times I'm sitting on these boards where it seems like, we lose a couple jobs, we'll retrain them. Well, next thing you know, you don't have the workers, and the cost goes up. The job doesn't get finished. The job goes up. I wish I'd written down what Raul Hernandez had said, because he was kind of hitting on what I was thinking, but I'm a little concerned when I think I misheard something, PLAs versus prevailing wage. I mean, we're prevailing wage, and then you go after the PLAs. In general, I think the key words here is we come up with an agreement, even if it is, no, we're not going to do labor. We do sit down and talk to them, what's being offered. And second, what are the labor standards we're going to work under? Because I actually hit a point where I won't vote for anything that costs one more job. We are crazy over here in the Bay Area costing jobs, and instead we have an opportunity to add jobs. And to me, let's jump on the opportunity. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, sir. With that said, this is an action item agenda, and I'm looking for a motion if there's no further discussion.
Chair, if I had one more thing, it's going to bother me all day if I don't say it. There is nothing about emissions and greenhouse gases, the 6 greenhouse gases the state is telling us to drop 80% below the 20 or the 1990 levels, that is coming from hydrogen. There are only 6. Hydrogen is not one of them. It's CO2, methane, NOx, nitric oxide, parafluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride. That is not hydrogen. My organization is not an automobile. Automobiles and buses, automobiles and trains are different. My organization was the first, the Central Contra Costa Transit Authority was the first organization to use the fully inducted electric bus. Michael knows this. His organization also sits with us. And we now have these batteries sitting around the yard, and we're going hydrogen. The decision is still being made, but we're not ignoring our due diligence. And right now, the due diligence tells me hydrogen is the way to proceed.
Very good. Thank you so much. And
Candace, right.
Second, Halbert or Hernandez, either one.
All right. All right, Candace.
Third, Hudson.
Roll call.
Yeah, one quick note before roll call. I neglected to put for the record that we did receive a letter in writing on this agenda item. And as usual, all the correspondence is available online for viewing.
Thank you, Candace. All righty, roll call.
Akinjo,
Yes, ma'am.
Hobart,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
King Single,
Yes.
Neeram,
Yes.
Rickman,
Yes.
Stepper,
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Vargas, got you. Vargas,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zuba.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Excellent. We'll move on to item number 7, update on the CEQA environmental review. This is an informational item. Kevin, is it going to be Kevin or Will?
I think we have
Marianne?
someone from ECOM presenting on this.
I'll jump into the void here. And it's very exciting to be underway with our environmental work on the project. And we have our project manager from AECOM, Michael Kay, here to give you a brief overview presentation on the scoping process and activities to date. Michael?
Thank you, Marianne. I'm going to share my screen. We have a PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to walk through. So if you can, let's see, you should see the first slide of the PowerPoint presentation.
Not yet.
No. Okay.
Are you, there we go.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Chair Vargas, members of the board, as Marianne said, my name is Michael Kay. I work for AECOM and I am a CEQA NEPA project manager. I've been working on the project for quite a number of years now with the full AECOM team, and we're really excited to continue working on the project. What I'd like to do this afternoon is give you an update on where we are in the CEQA analysis. I will say that the focus of the presentation will be CEQA, but the board is in consultation and coordination with FTA on complying with the NEPA documentation for the project. Excuse me. So to go over once again, the project goals have been consistent throughout the project. Is to improve connectivity within the Northern California mega region, establish rail connectivity between BART's rapid transit system and the Northern San Joaquin Valley, pursue project implementation that is fast, cost-effective, and responsive to the goals and objectives of the communities, be a model of sustainability in design, construction, and operation of the project, and also support the vision of the California State Rail Plan to connect the Northern California mega region to the state rail system. Again, to give more background on the project, in 2021, a CEQA environmental impact report was approved, and the authority board approved the staff recommended CEQA certified alternative. This alternative included a 42-mile, 7-station passenger rail service that would link the Dublin Park Pleasanton BART station on the west with the North Lathrop A station on the east, which was part of the ACE Corridor Express project. The AR included a range of alternatives, and there was a full chapter on alternative considered and evaluated at an equal level. These alternatives were rejected because either they did not meet the project objectives, they were infeasible, or did not significantly avoid or reduce the impacts of the proposed project. The CEQA certified alternative did not include a preferred vehicle technology because it was recognized that zero emission technologies to meet the project objectives were rapidly changing in the marketplace, and so this was to be deferred to a later point. The 2021 environmental document also considered two initial operating segments. one of which would connect the Dublin Pleasanton Barge Station with the South Front Road Station in Livermore, and another initial operating segment that would connect Dublin Pleasanton with the Mountain House Station adjacent to the city of Tracy. Now, the Mountain House Station alternative initial operating segment has become the basis for the proposed project that's being evaluated in our subsequent EIR. Some of the changes included in the proposed project from the 2021 CEQA alternative is we're proposing that the Dublin Pleasanton platform be relocated from the median of I-580 to the south side of I-580. There has been track realignment in the Altamont Pass segment, and a new Mountain House Community Station and Operation and Maintenance Facility are being included in the proposed project to more directly serve the Mountain House community. What's shown here is what's being proposed to be evaluated in the subsequent EIR. The proposed project is now a 26-mile alignment. The western end is still a connection with the Dublin Pleasanton Barge Station. There are 4 new stations, including Isabel and South Front Road in Livermore, and the Mountain House Community Station, as well as the connection to the Dublin Barge Station. 2 maintenance and operation facility sites will be evaluated, and the alignment would be constructed within a combination of the existing I-580 freeway median, as well as use of the Alameda Corridor and new right-of-way across the Altamont Pass. Excuse me. Within the I-580 corridor, like I said, the proposed project would start at the west end of the I-580 corridor at the Dublin Pleasanton Barge Station, with a platform immediately south of the freeway. The alignment would transition over the eastbound traffic lanes into the median of I-580, continue within the median to a proposed station at Isabel, a proposed station at South Front Road, and before transitioning out of the I-580 median approximately at the location of Greenville Road. Within this segment, I-580 would be widened to accommodate the proposed project, but the majority of the widening would occur to the north side of 580 up until First Street, and then a combination of north of and south of I-580 east of First Street. However, during construction and at completion of the proposed project, the existing lane configuration of I-580 would remain unchanged, including the current express lane facilities within the corridor. The eastern half of the alignment that would leave I-580 at approximately Greenfield would include a flyover out of the freeway median into the existing Alameda Transportation Corridor, which is the former Southern Pacific Railroad right-of-way. The alignment would continue within this corridor across Altamont Pass to a point approximately north of where the alignment passes under I-580. At this point, the alignment would extend east, staying north of I-580, crossing both the California Aqueduct and the Delta Mendota Canal before arriving at the Mountain House Community Station at along Mountain House Parkway just north of I-205, and ending at the Mountain House Operations and Maintenance Facility. As I said earlier, there would be 4 new stations included in the proposed project. Each of the facilities would provide baseline infrastructure to initiate initiate service and support local area plans to be developed by local jurisdictions. The station area plans would facilitate transit-oriented development and pedestrian-friendly station areas while promoting active transportation, including bicycling and walking, use of zero-emission vehicles, and shared rides to access the stations. However, these stationary plans are not part of the proposed project. These stationary plans would be implemented by the local jurisdictions with support from the proposed project. So now I'd like to show you a schematic markup of the proposed stations. Again, at the western end of the alignment, the proposed Valley Link platform would be located south of I-580. It's showed on this slide in the blue color, with the existing BART station showed in the gray color within the median of I-580. The platform would be an elevated station with a double track on either side of the platform. And to access BART, passengers would get off the Valley Link trains, take escalators down to the BART entrance, cross under the I-580 freeway, and then enter the BART station, the BART facility. Further east, the proposed Isabel station would be a double track at-grade platform within the median of I-580. The station facilities themselves would be constructed south of I-580 along Air Base Parkway and would include parking, bus bays, kiss and ride area, as well as a pedestrian overcrossing linking the station parking lot to the platform within the median of I-580. Depending on proposed funding, the pedestrian overcrossing would also link the platform within the median with areas north of I-580. Parking proposed at this station includes approximately 830 regular spaces, 15 accessible spaces, and 5 van accessible spaces for a total of approximately 850 parking places. And I should mention that no parking is proposed at the Dublin Pleasanton BART station. No new parking. Excuse me. The next station is proposed along South Front Road within the city of Livermore. Similar to the Isabel station, this would include a Valley Link platform within the median of 580, a double track at-grade station with surface parking south of I-580 along South Front Road. Access to the station would be provided from a pedestrian overcrossing connecting the station platform to the parking lot. Parking at this station is proposed to be approximately 680 spaces with 662 regular spaces, 12 accessible, and 6 van spaces. The project would also include bus bays and availability of bicycle parking. Finally, the easternmost station is what we refer to as the Mountain House Community Station. This station would be constructed just north of I-205 at the Mountain House Parkway interchange. It would be an at-grade double track Valley Link platform and include approximately 2,990 parking places, of which 2,948 would be regular, 35 accessible spaces, and 8 would be van spaces. Finally, as we mentioned, the project would include 2 operation and maintenance facilities. The one maintenance facility would be constructed just east of the Mountain House Community Station, and the other one would be constructed at the Tracy Operations and Support Site, which was included in the prior project and is located along West Schulte Road. As we've been discussing, the authority has a sustainability project that would guide the advancement of a zero-emission vehicle technology and a strategy to produce the system's own energy. However, at this time, a vehicle has not been selected, although they will be evaluated as part of the proposed project with the environmental documentation. Regarding the project timeline, as I discussed earlier, a CEQA environmental impact report was adopted by the authority in 2021. We are now in the process of completing a subsequent CEQA environmental document to examine the potential impacts of the revisions to the proposed project. We anticipate that this draft document will be circulated to the public in the summer of 2023 with a final environmental document by the end of 2023, early 2024. Final design would occur during 2025, with construction starting at 2025 and completion projected to be in 2027. We have initiated the CEQA documentation process for the subsequent EIR. The notice of preparation of the EIR was posted to the state clearinghouse and circulated to the public beginning on November 14th. Copies of the NOP were mailed to all elected officials, local agencies, and adjacent property owners within the project area. 2 virtual scoping meetings were held to present the proposed project to the public and interested parties, as well as to get information about the public concerns to be addressed in the CEQA document. One of these was held on the evening of December 5th, and the other one was held on the afternoon of Tuesday, December 6th. Opportunities at both meetings, both meetings were also presented in Spanish, and we had Spanish translations available for the question and answer sessions that were held at the conclusion of the presentation for the 2 meetings. There's also a new project website for the project. The address is www.getvalley.link.com. The notice of preparation, as well as the announcements for the scoping meetings, were posted in the local newspapers listed here, including a Spanish version of the NOP in El Observador. And the comment period for the NEPA scoping officially ends at 5 o'clock in the evening next Monday, December 19th. Now, the content of the CEQA document to be circulated to the public next summer will include a summary of the proposed project, including costs, benefits, and impacts. The impacts will be evaluated against what's referred to as the no project alternative. And the EIR will also include conceptual engineering plans for the proposed project, including the alignment of the track, typical station cross sections and track sections, station layouts, as well as potential right-of-way impacts of the proposed project. The conclusions of the draft document will be supported by a number of environmental technical reports, which are being prepared at this time, analyzing the potential impacts of the proposed project. The draft supplemental environmental impact report will follow the CEQA guidelines and will include an evaluation of potential project impacts on the standard resource areas included in the proposed project, including those listed below, everything from air quality impacts, agricultural impacts, wildfire, noise, vibration, etc. And that comes to the end of my presentation. Like I said, this is an overview of where we are in the current CEQA documentation projects, and welcome your questions and comments.
We need to take that down, Michael.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you. And with that, we want to open this to the public before going to our board members. So let's see what attendees. I think there are some hand raised. Let me see. Cosmo, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So I have great focus and interest in the Isabel station. I noticed that there's going to be an increase in parking spaces. I want to advocate against that and focus on building transit-oriented development and reprioritizing the land so they can build housing. I'm also curious how the authority is going to plan on making connections to Las Positas College, considering that Las Positas serves a large portion of the Tri-Valley and the San Joaquin area. I also want to really emphasize that we shouldn't be including parking at these stations. We should be advocating for people to take public transit to these stations as much as possible to reduce these greenhouse gases. I left Livermore and moved to the Oakland and Berkeley area because of a lack of transportation. And a lack of connectivity to BART that's efficient. I would consider myself a choice user when it comes to public transit. I have a car, but always try and take public transit as much as possible, but we really need to focus on disincentivizing car use to those stations. I just really want to emphasize that, we should be advocating for alternate modes of transportation. And I also want to see what plans there are going to be for protected bike lanes with access to those stations, especially in Isabel, at Isabel and Mountain House. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Cosmo. I appreciate your time and calling in. We'll move on to Councilman not Councilman, it's Bedoya. You have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you for unmuting me. Thank you for hearing me out today on this item. I had a question for staff, if I'm allowed to ask, and then hopefully get a response. How does this CEQA work with or alongside San Joaquin Council of Governments EIR to study managed lanes on the I-205?
And if you have all your questions,
Okay.
and then we will make sure that you answer when it's appropriate. So
Understood. Okay.
We have a minute, 30 seconds left.
Okay. And then so that's the question I had. My other concern or question was, how do the results of that CEQA possibly impact the city of Tracy getting a Valley Link station, whether it's in our downtown or by the freeway on the I-205? I just want to make it very clear, anybody who's with the city of Tracy should care about the not just promises, but rhetoric that has been going on for the past few years, where we've heard that the city of Tracy is getting a station. We've made all sorts of land commitments. I remember being in the council meeting about 2 months ago, where on the record, a representative from Valley Link said that Tracy will be getting a station. But I've been seeing the supplemental EIR that just makes me a little concerned. And I'm really just hoping to get on the record a response. How does this affect Tracy getting a station? Is the intent to maybe not build a station in Tracy? Because we had a very big local Measure Y, that very much did everything but promise a station and Valley Link in Tracy. And I'm just hoping to get some clarity. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to hear me out today.
Thank you, Mr. Bedoya. I appreciate your comments. We'll move on to the next caller, Karen Moore. Karen, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Can you hear me better now than the first time I talked?
Yes.
Good.
Okay,
I
you
made
have
some
2 minutes.
changes. Yes, my history with public transit was when my father retired from the military, he worked at BART, and this was before BART had all its stations. And so I understand that the EIR only goes to the furthest they're going to go out in phase 1. And so going to Mountain House is just one phase, and then as it moves on, it'll go to Tracy. So I understand that. But I too saw the DOT's comment when Tracy put their transportation plan in Sequinet, and their concern was that the plan has a map showing Valley Link going through town as opposed to down the corridor that DOT's planning. And so I have that concern, but I'm waiting until it's time to get there. I'm gonna just watch this as I always have, watch how it's moving ahead and leave those concerns for afterwards. The last thing I want to say is that when I made a comment earlier, you allowed someone to call me names, and I don't think that that's appropriate in a diverse group of people talking. I felt like, I could have made some comment about the environmental impacts of hydrogen, but I didn't because of how I was treated. I'm very grateful that another member of the group was there for me, but I really don't think that I should be attacked when I give comments by any speakers. And I would hope you'd shut that down and support diverse voices from the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I'm not going to address that last comment. Absolutely. We don't behave bullying. Name calling is not allowed. That's immaturity of whoever did that. And if I missed it, I apologize, Karen. My deepest apology. It's not intent. Everybody here is equal, and everybody's opinions matters. And our staff and us are looking forward to responding to all the inquiries from the public and within ourselves and our team. So please accept my apologies for whoever was the person making ill comments to you. With that, I want to go to my staff. I don't know if Will or Kevin or Marianne will be responding to the comments made. I see Kevin. So Kevin, there are a couple questions from Mr. Mateo Bedoya about narratives, misinformation, stations. Can you speak about Tracy and the healthy relationship that we have with the city manager and where we are projecting the stations?
Certainly, Chair. And I think to start off with, if I can recall the questions that were asked, some of those are still being developed, the answers, such as what's in the supplemental EIR. We haven't developed that yet. That's why we're having the scoping process, is to solicit comments so that we can analyze what has been presented just now by Michael Kay as what is the first leg of the project, which is from Tracy Operations Support Site and Maintenance Facility to Dublin Pleasanton BART. That has to do with the availability of funding that the Tri-Valley has committed and the amount of funding that the city of Tracy has funded. And reality is the city of Tracy, with the land dedication and the dollar value associated with that, that's the only other source of funds in San Joaquin County that's even been contributed to the project. So as we move forward in the federal environmental process, and the supplemental state environmental process, we look at alternatives that connect to what SJCOG and Caltrans District 10 are proposing as part of the fixed skyway or managed lanes study, which shows a connection at Mountain House where the majority of the traffic collects. Does it mean that a station will not go to Tracy? Absolutely not. That is the next evolution of this project when we begin to do the next environmental process, which we are waiting to see the outcome of SJCOG's alternative selection or what's in their draft environmental document, as it's critical to our decision making. Once they are done with that, we will then look at from Mountain House and the Tracy Operational Support Site to evaluate whether the 205 is an option, or there's still the option to go down a different route to get to the Tracy subdivision, which goes right to downtown Tracy and continues on up to River Islands into Lathrop. So we will have two options for the public to weigh in on as part of that environmental process. But for the current environmental process, we have to be focused, because every project that's in a federal environmental document requires a financial plan or project management plan. The feds, in order to gain the 30% match associated with programs in the federal, these infrastructure bill or any federal program, they want to make sure that projects can not only complete construction, but there is a good chance that they will get to construction so the environmental documents don't go stale and just sit on the shelf. So if they were to see a project that went 50 miles that cost $9 billion and only had $3 billion, likely they wouldn't approve that whole length unless a financial plan could be shown to show that there is a likelihood that other funds could be acquired to help get to construction. So that's why you see this initial operating segment that was approved in the environmental impact report being revisited as part of this process. And there's a lot to it, and there'll be a lot more to come. We're very much at the beginning of soliciting comments. I've heard a lot of good comments today from the public and from the council member. Those will all be addressed as we make our way towards the draft environmental document, and looking forward to continuing to share that information with the public.
Very well said. So it is fair to say that from now, what we've been discussing for the last 12, 18 months, the first phase, which we call the early operations system will be from Mount House to BART and connecting that. That's our phase one with the 200 acres of energy farm. But did that sound correct?
That is the correct project description.
Okay, and we're still, all the communities that desire to have a station, they have the opportunity to have a station on the line, in the line, wherever that line goes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well said. I think we addressed all the comments from Mr. Bedoya and Director Hudson. You have the floor. And Karen, I see your hand. After Paul, I'll go to you, okay?
I was going to defer to Paul. He's wearing a tie. I feel.
I know. He was all fancy today.
Yeah, I want to take it. I'm sorry, Paul. This is what happens when we finally meet in person. I want to take a different tact on this. I disagree with the first speaker. I know in theory, all this don't put parking and everybody will take transit. There's other ways to do this. I'm taking the opposite position. I think if anything, the parking structure should be larger, and we should be going to our representatives to put this Valley Link together. Some of you may remember Catherine Baker, before she left office, got $20 million for a parking structure for BART, and that darn Haggerty stole it from me. I was going to grab that before she left it. But, Haggerty doesn't miss much, and he didn't miss that, but I can talk about it because he's not online. I think we go after it again, more of along the lines of where we're heading, and that's fully servicing, where you have charging for bikes. Rent a bike. We're doing it now with Bird and San Ramon. It's already showing success. Where Uber can actually have a place where they're stopped, they could be charging their units. I priced it out one time. It's been a while, but the little plates that Elix was putting in parking structures, if we did it originally, at least with the wiring, it was like $278 a space. Now, Bishop Ranch did this many years ago, and they built 1,056 parking spaces. It showed it 18 million. It was probably 15 million. I don't think you could do it for less than 50 million now. But this is an opportunity for people to do like BART does, overnight parking where it's important to them, instead of driving out to the airport, of making this connection and going in either direction towards Stockton Metropolitan or Oakland or San Jose or San Francisco. And they'll use this parking structure. And even more important of why I'm trying to do it more in my city, you look at places like the Outlet near Isabel and the amount of employees that are working there that are taking parking spaces, and rather than build additional parking, they could rent out of this for, I don't want to say you're going to go right to BART at $3 a day and 6 or 7 overnight, but the opportunity is there, and I would not downplay the parking. I would get a hold of RBK. I've already done it once, so it's not new to her. Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, I think, would love to be part of this, getting another 20 million for this structure. And I think that's the way to go, at least on the initial, and then see what we want to do when we get on the other side of the hill. And on the remark about Tracy, Tracy's the largest city on the line, folks, and it's not going to get smaller. There's no way Tracy isn't going to get probably more than one stop. It just makes good sense. We're not stupid. It will be there.
Thank you, Director Hansen. Director Akincho, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, ma'am. This is going to be quick. I'm not sure if I remember that the operational stations were 2. I thought we only had 1 in Tracy. So I don't know when the other one was introduced at Mountain House. I could be wrong. Maybe I missed a meeting or 2. I don't know.
Good point. The staff cares to answer?
I can, Chair. Yes, Director Akinjo, as part of the supplemental document earlier on this year, it's been a little while, but we had to identify another site to park the trains at to start at Mountain House. That's one of the additions to the environmental documents, that we have to study an area, because we cannot readily get down at this point in time to the Tracy OMF. It doesn't mean we won't be able to in the future as we go up one way or the other. There are opportunities to use a different UPR parts of the Union Pacific Railroad to get there. But to start the service as part of the initial operating segment, or initial operating piece, I hate to use the word segment because it's not, it will allow us to park, store the trains, do daily maintenance there on the east side. And it allowed us to have a minimal area to do that. Because in the event that whether SJCOG and Caltrans decide that that alternative is the one they want to go with to mitigate for their managed lanes, we would then fly back into the freeway off of that side on the east side of the interchange, and then get into 205 or stay north of it. And depending on what's evaluated as part of that environmental analysis, we would continue up 205, or we'll turn and go down to Union Pacific Railroad to downtown Tracy and still have access by rail. How those two work together is there's a lot of maintenance that gets done that can be trucked. I've seen with other rail agencies, I don't want to name all of them, but just to be brief, that they quickly run out of room for servicing their fleet. And 200 acres may seem like a lot, but when you're talking about the size fleet and maintenance, it's good to have other properties available to do specific types of maintenance. So in this case, the opportunity exists to put a maintenance facility, evaluate a maintenance facility at that location, and still maintain the one that Tracy has dedicated also as part of the project.
Thank you, Kevin. And to clarify, Kevin, don't go yet. I want to make sure that we know that the ultimate connection is to Stockton. The goal is to connect these folks in Stockton, and I now that I hate to say it, but they are the largest city in San Joaquin County. And so I want to make sure that that is the ultimate goal, folks. We have hundreds of thousands of people traveling, and tens of thousands come from Stockton. And we want to make sure that the 580, 205, those folks in San Joaquin County coming from Stockton and beyond, they get service from our train. And before going to Karen and Bernice, I want to check in with legal. Conrad, you have a comment?
Yeah, sorry to jump the line. Just a clarification, if Michael or Marianne might comment. This subsequent EIR is not reopening the other approval that we have, right? This is simply examining the changes that are being considered. Mm-hmm. And it's that clear to the public and to the board. So we're not reopening. It's simply limited to what's being presented to you.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Thank you, sir, for that friendly reminder. And Director Stepper, you have the floor, ma'am.
Just a couple of quick questions or comments. First, I guess I missed something. We're changing the logo to Get Valley Linked instead of Valley Link. What is that? Why are we doing that?
I can answer that, Chair, if you like, real quick.
Sure, please.
Mr. Stepper, we're not changing the logo. That's just where we will receive comments at for the scoping and environmental document. We had to create another link that allows us to collect those comments specifically, and that's what getvalleylinked.com is about. It's not actually the logo change. So I apologize for any confusion there.
Okay, you just wanted a way to mechanically get to that page. Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have introduced the new logo in that case, but nevertheless, secondly, I just asked the chair to make sure that if people are going to have their dog barking, that they go aside and stop the barking and then come back and finish their comments to us, because that was very difficult to try to hear that speaker. And I'm a dog person, but they don't belong on our comment. Thank you. And lastly, I'd like to second what David Hudson was talking about. We still have to get people to the transit, to use the transit. And while we're looking at all kinds of options, and I know CCTA is, and single occupant vehicles and all kinds of things, we aren't there right now. We want to make sure that people, when they're getting what you want in terms of emissions, can in fact get to the transit. So I think that the parking has a lot of critical parts, and I know we're doing a lot of bike changes right now, and I think the safety of bikes require some of that parking to be available when they get there. So thank you.
Excellent point. And I want to say I agree with both of you, and I see more than just commuters using our parking structures and people that just travel by. I'm hoping that our younger generation in our Central Valley gets the opportunity to utilize the many colleges and higher education opportunities that the Bay Area has that we do not have here in the Central Valley. They're limited. So I'm hoping that our students have the ability to get in a train and work into higher education, or like the speaker said, community colleges are more available, to have other opportunities for our youth to just have access to training, degrees and other options that right now are very limited because families are not able to afford a third car, a third insurance, and the gas prices. So I tell you, that's one of the things that it does keep me awake at night. With that, I will pass it along to Director Tingle. And thank you for coming and joining us from your vacation, Bernice. You are a trooper.
Okay, thank you so very much. My comment is going to be brief. I just want to echo that I am for not decreasing parking, but to keep parking in these facilities. It's simply because my feeling on is that people will still be commuting from other areas. You mentioned earlier, Chair Vargas, that people will be driving from Sacramento, Discovery Bay, other areas. So parking is really key. As this gets started, to me, it's just going to be a mere platform where people can commute to their commute. They're going to the station, and you have choices along the way. Things could happen. They can decide, well, the traffic's heavy, I'm going to get off and park at this station. So parking is key in order to give people that mobility and availability.
So true. So true. Well said. Okay, last time.
No, you can't do. I want to apologize. I have to duck out for my own special meeting, and I want to say thank you, Chair, for a wonderful job and take exception. I think our goal is to get to not Stockton, but the Stockton Metropolitan Airport. The Department of Transportation, in particular the Secretary of Transportation, made that statement very clear that he's looking for trains that take you to airports. He actually takes the Silver Line in to work in Washington, D.C. And I think that opportunity is there with everything that's around it, and you'll probably end up having more parking there. But then I'll get out of Dan Wright's business, but I have a feeling Stockton would not mind increasing United's work when they finally came back into Stockton.
We will support that thought.
Yeah. I think that I think you'll see Denver. I know you have LA right now, and you'll probably see more. And what's really important about it is that you've opened up this opportunity. Stockton can just expand out and kick little French Camp out of the way, and spoken as a person who was born and raised in Stockton. So I'll be arguing with you guys out there for the rest of the year. Thank you. Great job, Chair.
You're here to Stockton. And Dan, are you okay with all the statements being made about your city?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So Stockton is fully ready to take on any challenges that transit can bring its way.
Yeah, and you guys done such a good job with your airport. Nothing will please me more, not only to connect with ACE, but having a true connection to that beautiful airport, which is actually a beautiful airport. You guys have done such a good job. Thank you, Director Hudson.
And connect to LA along with the others through United Airlines, which I don't want to say I'm old, but my first flight out of there was 1955.
Come on, Mr. Hudson.
A DC-3 into San Francisco on my way up to Portland.
We are bigger now. We have bigger planes now.
All right. This is an informational item. There's no vote required. And I think we have discussed enough. And if that's the pleasure of the board, we'll move on to item 8, which is the Executive Director's Report. Kevin, who will take over?
I'll start off and just, it's been a great board meeting with everybody's comments, and I couldn't wait to get to this point because it is bittersweet where we have a number of members of our boards leaving, and exciting because we're getting new members too. You can tell by the meeting there's an eagerness from people to join our board. So it's great. And the comments today have been just fantastic, both from the public and the board. And we have a presentation and some awards, and I'll turn that over to Candace and Will and Marianne to help present. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. So today we are recognizing 4 of our board members that will be leading the ValleyLink board this month, following a combined total of 16 years of service to advance the ValleyLink rail project. The service includes the shaping of the ValleyLink vision and the establishment of a brand new rail authority to deliver critical benefits of cost-effective transit connectivity, access to opportunity, and improved quality of life to the communities they represent. As ValleyLink staff, we have been honored to have served as staff to the authority during their tenure as board members, and to have shared in the collective success of the authority that they have championed. Regardless of which side of the Altamont Pass these board members have represented, they have always come together in the spirit of collaboration with focus on what is best for what is now recognized as the California mega region, with shared economies and communities versus simply a jobs, housing, and balance. Together, they supported the authority to achieve incredible success across project development, funding, and perhaps most importantly, the credibility of a real project with broad support across the mega region. We have a short presentation to recognize these 4 members of the board, along with plaques that each of them will be receiving to memorialize their service and contribution to the ValleyLink project. Again, it has been our personal pleasure to have served under your leadership and to have had you as a part of an incredible team of board members working to make the ValleyLink Rail project a reality. Thank you, and we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh.
And real quick, Chair, we also have a list of accomplishments that that this board helped oversee over the last year. So Will, maybe you could read them off since I'm dispatched.
Kevin, I'm just going to defer to Candace, as those were captured in the PowerPoint presentation. I think it stopped inadvertently.
All right.
So there's a little bit more to that presentation, as well as a video that follows.
Oh, I remember that day. Where's the music?
Yes.
Oh, that was a good meeting in Latrobe. Bernice, Paul, you guys are there with me. This is a signature of the land dedication. Aw. I'm in good company there. That's very cool. I have to say,
We also have a special video for Veronica.
Hang on a moment.
You got something to say, Marianne?
Nope, I just said, hang on, we're not done.
Oh,
you have more?
yes.
Right.
Boy, oh my gosh, hold on, sorry. Why is it doing this to me? There we go. Can you hear the sound now?
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Remember that? so cool, you guys.
And I just wanted to note that we were pleased and really, Kevin, on behalf of the authority executive director, to present Chair Vargas both her plaque as well as the outgoing chair steel rail bookends at her last City of Tracy council meeting last night.
Thank you guys for coming though. And before we go to the board, I see the audience have some hands over there. So I'm gonna open public comment to the public. And I believe Karen Moore has her hands raised. So Karen, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I have a couple of things to say. First of all, what an incredible legacy Veronica Vargas has with Valley Link. A lot of naysayers you have to ignore, and a lot of partnerships you had to create to move with this group along. And I would hope this group would support naming a station after Veronica in the future, because I really think that a station should be named and one of them should be named after her. The next thing I have is there was a comment made by a trade union that he just found out about this. And I was at early meetings before pandemic in Stockton where it was full of union membership. So the continuity is not happening. So I ask, as you leave, the people who are leaving, that you have a sit down with whoever replaces you for continuity. I ask the unions to do the same thing, because this information moves better if we all don't have to, re-educate everyone that's coming in. So continuity, I'd like to see happen. And then the last thing, I'm involved in a lot of environmental things. I'm on an alternative on San Joaquin Valley Air, and I go to meetings for California Energy. And one of the things they're struggling with is apartments. Older apartments are not investing in what's needed for electric charging stations. So I would encourage you to make sure that these stations do have electricity charging, because we're hoping businesses and public transit help these apartment dwellers with access to charging their vehicles or bikes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Karen. Is any other members of the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to our board. And I see several hands raised. So Paul, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, I just want to be sure, maybe Kevin, are you sure those stakes are available for our outgoing officials? A couple of years, those spikes were promised and shown, but they were not available to them. So I just want to be sure that you have it on hand when you are presenting.
I have them in my possession.
You have it.
They
So
will be mailed out to the board members.
So as board members get closer to departing, they turn from rusty color to silver.
Yes, sir, we have. I just want to be sure that you have it available. Okay.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Bernice, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I do. I just want to say congratulations to all of those members that are directors that are leaving the board. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, but I want to focus on you, Chair Vargas. In this assignment, you have exemplified the word of passion. You have a passion for this project, and that's what, to me, has made it wonderful to be on this board, and the excitement that you bring when you are reading out to the various communities. You make people excited about it, and that's what we want to do. I may be in Cabo with the mosquitoes eating me up. And that's what I really appreciate when I'm working with any team, is the passion that people show. It wasn't just an assignment for any recognition of, to me, title or anything. You have always worked and operated in, let's move this forward. What can I do to make this team successful? A true leader. I'm going to miss you, but I do know that a person who operates in passion, even though they may not be at the meetings, they're always going to be there. And I think that's what we're going to see in you, Chair Vargas.
Yes.
The pleasure working.
Oh, I think there's a meeting.
I appreciate that. Paul, if you don't mind muting yourself. And Karen Sepper, and then I'm gonna go to Dan Wright.
Okay. It's been an honor to be on this board, and I'm glad that I'm getting to stay, but I'm really going to miss these people. You know, Kathy and Nerman, we've been on committee since I can remember when she started with the council. And it's just been an honor to hear all the things that have happened. But Chairman Vargas, you have done an awesome job of leadership. You have been so patient with some people who have repeated themselves a few times, but they're just trying to make sure that they're staying involved in the process. And so you've done a really great job of bringing them together. So thank you so much.
Karen, thank you so much. Dan.
Thank you, Chair Vargas. I want to thank all of the departing board members for their work. I'm a relative newcomer to Valley Link, but I've been interested in it. Sorry, I've got a loud cat. I've got to close my door here. He doesn't know it's not dinner time yet. Again, I'm a relative newcomer to this board, and I've learned an incredible amount in the year plus that I've been on it. I'm excited about all the work that's getting done. And again, as everyone else has said, Chair Vargas's leadership has been absolutely critical to everything that we're getting done. We've had changes in executive directors, but she was the glue that held all this together. And she may be terming out from the Tracy Council, but I get a feeling we're not done with her yet. She'll pop up somewhere.
No, I'm gonna lean on you, Dan. I said when I invited you in and you graciously accepted, we needed those broad shoulders from Stockton, and you have done so well, and we're so lucky to have you. I know that the new board will appreciate your involvement, your leadership within your community. I'm so proud of all of you, but I see our vice chair had her hand up. Melissa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and echoing what all of the other board members have said with regards to your leadership. I don't want to forget Kathy Nurum and Bob Warner and Benny Benito, which I'm not sure if he's here this afternoon, but I wish you, all of you, the best of luck. I know that term limits could be good and term limits can be not so good, but you have been there from the beginning, and your partnership with Supervisor Scott Haggerty was great, with both of you working together to be able to get us to where we're at right now. And I think that there's been a lot of accomplishments made, many more to have the next couple years. And we hope that you still come and visit us and are still part of, calling during public comment. All of you, we're going to need your support. But honestly, all kidding aside, I think it's important to also have women in transportation. I know that it's just something that is definitely needed, and also bringing a woman's perspective is huge, and seeing some great changes. But Valley Link has made it this far, and it's been with all of your leadership, all of your input that all of you put in, during the meetings. I know Mayor Bob Warner has helped us a lot with the hydrogen section, and then just making sure that, you have two counties, Alameda County and San Joaquin County, working together, and just all the cities coming together. And I truly believe that this is such a great board to be on. And I love the collaboration that we've all had the last several years. And we wish all of you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, thank you for reminding me. I miss Scott. I miss working with him, but you guys are excellent. He actually put a good team in the Alameda County together, and here in our Central Valley, San Joaquin Valley, met the energy from the Alameda County. I'm so proud. People usually jokingly said that Scott was the father of Valley Link, and I'm the mother. And as a good mother, I got the opportunity to name this project. even Scott, I remember teasing me about that, but he was a good partner that allowed the mom to name their baby. So, Director Hudson, I'm sorry, Howard, David, you have the floor. I'm emotional.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to
so
stop.
Emotional right now.
I'm going to stop short of starting any rumors. But I will say it was truly an honor to serve with you, Veronica, as chair, but with everyone who's leaving this team. Even one member or two changing on a team changes the dynamic. We're going to miss all of you. I know that you'll be backfilled with great people, but the insight that each of you have brought to this board, but also the camaraderie, the friendship, and just the good karma from it. Really appreciate that. We will carry on, and we will expect that you're still watching, and always stay in touch. Each and every one of you, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the kind words. Director Nuren, you have the floor. Oh, you're muted, Kathy.
All right. I just want to say it's been a real privilege to serve on this board. I am terming out. It's been 9.5 years, so it's probably time. And it's been a real privilege just to serve with you, Chair, and the staff, and see everybody really continuing to push this forward. You know, it'd be so easy to get bogged down in the bureaucracy of CEQA and NEPA and RNEPA and everything else, and we've really tried to rise above that and keep moving, and ultimately get the train built and improve the lives of people who are sitting on 580 in particular through the Livermore Pleasanton area, and get them home sooner, get them to their jobs sooner. So I really thank everyone, and I don't know yet who's going to be taking my place, but I did put my 2 cents in. I was asked, so hopefully we'll see. But anyway, I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise, Kathy. Thank you so much. And with that note, I'm hoping that I'm going to put my 2 cents that this board, this successional leadership and continuity is so important. And I'm hoping to see Melissa to move out to being your next leadership role as a chair. I know that will be a vote between all of you, but I would not be a good leader if I don't just support somebody who has been in lockstep working with me. I could have not done what I have done if it wasn't for the great partnership that Melissa and I had together. So Melissa, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for taking the chance to work with me as my vice chair, and you've been outstanding to work with. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss all of you, and I leave you with good people, and I know that Will, Bill, Tamara, Candace, Mary Ann, and our fierce leader Kevin will take us to the finish line. I'm expecting this project to start construction in 2025 before I have another grandkid, hopefully. And on the same 2 cents, I'm looking at Stockton to raise up, maybe support our vice chair, which will be our next year. That will be the pleasure of all of you guys. But Stockton is the largest city in our community, and you guys have a lot to say and a lot of connectivity and opportunities, and intermodal stations from airports to other trains to bus systems. So that will be my 2 cents. In the spirit of transparency, that's the heart of heart, my desire. But you all, I'm gonna probably debate and have this discussion. And I thank you. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity and trusting me to be a part of your team and being in the lead position. So with that, upcoming meetings will be sometime in January. I wish you all a happy holidays. I'm gonna say Merry Christmas because I'm a Catholic girl. And I wanna wish all of you peace, happiness, and prosperity within your personal life and with your community and city. Thank you guys. I sincerely love you, all of you. I appreciate you guys' time. With
Thank
that,
you.
this meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Here.